Meet Dominique Alexander. Well, you've met him before.
I'm trying to find how many of y'all have asked the superintendent or one single board of trustee, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain or thunderstorm or clouds.
If you watched my shows, he has decided to go on a podcast and explain himself. And if you really hated him before, wait until you hear him talk. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With cold, blunt analysis cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's time for the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Can you explain your proximity to this place, if you don't mind?
Well, so the Next Generation Action Network has been brought on by the Anthony family to be the advocacy arm of this family. Our organization for the last...
Okay, so he's saying that the Karmelo Anthony family brought him on, that he didn't pursue them. If that's the case, my respect for that family just plummeted. How could you bring this clown in as your spokesperson? Really?
Last 11 years have represented so many different cases and high-profile cases here in North Texas and across the country.
For those who might question your resume, if you don't mind, can you speak on some situations, especially in the city that you were a part of, if just to jog the memory a little bit?
You can go straight in the middle of South Oak Cliff High School and you can see my name on the wall. It was because in 2015, I led the walkout, organized the kids to lead the walkout out of South Oak Cliff High School. That brought about $400 million in a racial equity lens to Dallas ISD. As a formerly incarcerated person, I tell people all the time, you don't get appointed vice chair of a Dallas ISD bond board over $3.5 billion if you ain't doing the work. So,
former incarcerated person, you mean criminal. Because you are, in fact, a criminal, a violent criminal, a really violent criminal. Don't sugarcoat it.
And our organization, if you've been here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you saw any police brutality or Botham Jean or a Tatiana Jefferson, you pretty much have saw the Next Generation Action Network.
So he's a race hustler, in other words. He's just another Al Sharpton, always on the lookout for injecting race into anything. Yes, Tatiana Jefferson was shot by a police officer, but I don't think that race was involved. He didn't shoot her because she was black. However, to him, it doesn't matter whether race was involved. It's racial.
I want to get your temperature of society right now in Dallas-Fort Worth. Would you say racism still exists?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
For him, he hopes it does. That's how he makes his money. If racism disappeared, the man would shrivel up and die.
It's embedded into the core of North Texas. And a lot of times we play with it, but it's in our fabric. We're the only place in the country that our economics and our business is literally ran by yet a citizens council that used to be called the White Citizens Council.
Used to be, but no longer. They changed it. Perhaps they're trying to move forward, be progressive, but you can't stand that, can you? If they decided to go back and call it the White Council, he would love it.
For this situation to have taken place in Frisco at a track meet, in which, of course, we have two individuals that, of course, again, one person has tragically lost their life and the other person is battling for their life. When that first came across your newsfeed, what was your immediate thought when you seen that storyline, that headline, before you knew the details, or if the details came to you first?
Man, I saw it and I was like, I said, oh, Lord, this black child, oh, Lord, no.
So in other words, the very first time that he heard about it, before he knew anything about what had happened, he had already decided to turn this thing into a racial issue. He didn't care about the details. He didn't care whether the black kid was at fault or what. To him, he heard black, white, boom.
Because I saw the media narratives that were coming out. He died in his brother's arm, and just the what we know as black people in America, literally the media foundation of being able to assassinate the character or just like obliterate this child.
Well, if you don't stab people in the heart, you foil their evil plot to assassinate your character. And oh, by the way, he did die in his brother's arms. That much has been corroborated. But he can't stand that message getting out. He all but admits that if it was up to him, he would squelch that part of the news because it painted the white kid in a sympathetic light. True or not?
You know what I'm saying? Like literally like toast him. And I think that's the reason why people of consciousness was like, hold on, wait a minute now, something ain't adding up here. You know what I mean? Some because they were trying to oversell it. It was like it's just this temp. Okay, alrighty. And then what really messed them up?
The white kids are being painted in a sympathetic light. Therefore, there must be something up. This can't be right. It must be their fault somehow. That's what he's saying.
Is the family doing their interviews? That changed the game, period. You know what I mean? Like it was like, okay, did I not hear this right? Did the brother just say that the boy told him to leave him alone, don't put his hands on him? Did I hear that right? You know what I mean? Like, okay, I know a prosecutor about to tell this family to shut the, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, somebody got to be punking me, you hear me?
Okay, the prosecutor would not be telling the person to shut up. The prosecutor's job is not to suppress the truth. But you see, that's how this guy is. You see, if he was the prosecutor and the races were switched, he would suppress it. And notice that justification for violence is nothing for this guy. Any kind of disrespect, touching him, telling him to leave, that's grounds for a stabbing. And the reason why he believes that is because he is himself a violent person. If he was Karmelo Anthony, he would have stabbed Austin Metcalf just as much. That's how he thinks. Now, I'm not saying Karmelo Anthony is innocent or guilty, but if this dude had the knife, he would have stabbed Austin Metcalf. Because to him, any kind of pretext for violence is fine. I can guarantee you that when he beat up his girlfriend, the co-founder of the organization that he heads, that she did something like disrespected him. I told my woman not to touch me, and she touched me, and so I beat the living hell out of her. That's his mindset. She disrespected me. And Austin Metcalf disrespected Karmelo Anthony. And the prosecutor, he should have suppressed that because, oh my God, the jury has no choice now but to let Karmelo Anthony off the hook. Because he had a great reason to kill Austin Metcalf. He was disrespected. He was touched. Austin put his hands on him, and that's worth a stabbing in this man's eyes. And no, I'm not exaggerating. He thinks that. He is an exceptionally violent person.
And did he just say that he normally was the one that get people in trouble? Like you heard it from them.
Right.
And it was like, okay, something's there. You know what I mean? Right. And like I told somebody, the outrage came from the brothers' interview on WFAA, right? The mom and brothers' interview on Fox News.
See, it's an outrage. That's where the outrage comes from. It's from Hunter telling people that Austin Metcalf told him to leave the tent and put his hands on him. What an outrage. No wonder Karmelo Anthony stabbed him to death. I mean, if you hated this man before, you should be hating him a lot now.
And that went trickling effect. Hold on, wait a minute, pause. Literally, you said that this boy told your brother not to put his hands on, and you said that your brother did it anyway. Just help me understand. Like, I don't have to add in the words of what went on in this situation. He told you.
Right.
Yeah. No fear of serious bodily injury or death. None. None required. Disrespect. That's all it takes for him. And he thinks now that Karmelo Anthony is going to get off the hook, that the jury is going to have no choice but to acquit him when they find out that Austin Metcalf told him to leave the tent and that Austin touched him. Oh, man. And he's entitled to his opinion, but Texas state law does not agree. Now, maybe there's evidence forthcoming that paints the situation a lot differently. Maybe there's evidence that shows that Karmelo Anthony did act in self-defense. Fine. Once I see it, then I'll change my mind. But I'm not going to support Karmelo Anthony for stabbing Austin Metcalf if all Austin did was put his hands on him. No way. I mean, can you imagine if people stabbed each other over things like that? There'd be bodies everywhere. We have standards. We write laws because we know that stabbing somebody just because they put their hands on you is wrong.
To as you state, no, even me personally, when I first saw the media run with the story, I immediately looked at the picture they chose to use for Carmelo Anthony and the picture they chose to use for young Metcalf. And I immediately, just again, the way they ran the narrative, I saw, here we go. There's another fatherless boy, knucklehead, messing up society again. Here we go. Got fatherless. And they ran with that narrative to where the father made the statement. And again, it's just the way they play into, cameras in their face. I wonder who this kid's parents are. Yep. Does he have parents? Who raised a kid like this without him even knowing the full story?
Yeah, he didn't know the full story yet. All he knew was that some kid stabbed his own son to death. Yeah, when you find out things like that, you tend to wonder what caused this kid to do that. I mean, it's the father of the victim. Of course, they're going to jump to certain conclusions. You don't see Carmelo Anthony's parents getting up in front of a microphone and saying, yeah, this sounds just like something my kid would do. Yeah. No, they're defending their kid.
Correct. And as the narrative goes forward, and again, now that you're close, at what point did you come involved when they reached out to you? At what point did you reach out to them? At what point did you get involved in the scenario?
It happened on Wednesday. We got involved around 5:00 and was able to go out there. We got involved around that day. Wednesday happened, and then Friday we got involved and was able to go and visit the Anthony home in Frisco. And I'm telling you, when I pulled up to it, I was surprised. You know what I mean? Because I'm hearing the narrative. I don't know it. I haven't talked to him yet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, until I come in here, I'm like, okay, all right, I got my concepts in my head. And I remember the text message. I say, they say, hey, let us know when you're at the gate. I said, okay. I got text message in the QR code. I said, oh, this is a gated community. Okay, what's going on? Okay, all righty. All right, I thought I was going to some hoodlums that they said. You know what I mean?
Right,
I
right.
I going to the you know what I mean? Like I didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? I thought I was going to an apartment. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Gee, I wonder if he's stereotyping here. He thought that he was going to be pulling up to an apartment complex because Karmelo was black. It had nothing to do with the text messages.
But slowly go in there, man, and I see this amazing father, and I see this amazing mother and their kids and their family here. And I'm like, okay, all righty now, literally. But it just shows us what America at its core truly believe about the black child. The black child automatically has to come from a single family home.
Wait, you're the one that thought they lived in an apartment complex. So who's doing the stereotyping here?
To be coming from something deranged or whatever it may be, right? It gotta be like why in America do our children have to automatically come from something of significant less, right?
Well, you know what? Primarily because you do have serious problems with one-parent households among the black community, and the white community has it as well, okay? Of course, people jump to that conclusion because in so many instances, that's what happens. What are you expecting people to do? Just like you thought that you were going to be pulling up to an apartment complex, people thought that Karmelo must come from a single-parent household. It's the same thing.
Why? Why did you put this depiction over this 3.7 GPA boy that literally has over 21 pending scholarship offers? You know what I mean?
People will tell you statistics will show.
So the reality is that understand those statistics are a jet reminder of yet racism in their policies that they have put over our communities in so many different ways. But
no, the statistics are borne out from what actually happens. If a certain percentage of black households are single parent, that's what it is. That percentage isn't based on racism. It's based on measurement. They actually count these things. The U.S. Census actually goes from door to door and counts. And that's where the statistics come from. They didn't make them up just because they're racist. Besides, you can't get more liberal than a U.S. Census taker.
But in these moments, they show Black America what they truly think about us because of that stereotype that before they even did their own research. Now, this family, now they can't even deal with it because they realize now, oh, this This kid didn't come from what we said it was. We didn't do our research. This kid, this parents actually got the audacity to fight for
Correct.
him. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Austin Metcalf's parents fought for him too, and look what you did. You criticized the crap out of him. He even had the audacity to show up at the press conference you were giving to hear what you had to say about the stabbing of his own son, and you threw him out. You had the police come and throw him out. And yet here you are talking about the audacity that people had about the way they thought of Carmelo Anthony's parents. Man, hypocrisy is your middle name.
So, and we're gonna be jumping around and talking about a couple of different things, but I really want to kind of speak on what I feel started this kind of even bigger racial divide is when they seen the Black community support one of their own.
Correct.
When it comes to needing funds for legal fees and starting a GoFundMe, putting an amount, and people always joke with the Black community about a GoFundMe, like not having life insurance, and a GoFundMe gets started for someone passing away, and they're needing $3,000. They put in a certain amount for legal fees, and not only did the community come in and show not only support but surpassed the expected what their goal was. They surpassed it. A lot of people were upset about why are we victimizing someone who has taken a life. Just seeing that alone.
Why are we victimizing a person who's taken a life? Really? Okay, as far as the fundraiser goes, who was it that also had a fundraiser because he was accused of a crime? 3 of them, in fact. He claimed self-defense, just like Karmelo. He came from a really, really poor household, unlike Karmelo. And as far as I remember, he was criticized shamelessly. We're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. He was deplatformed 23 times by people like you see here in the video screen. They complained about the fact that he was raising money. A police officer donated money, $25, and was fired. There was another one out of Utah that was fired over it. I think it was a fireman. People are getting canned because they're donating money. And these guys here were all in favor of that because Kyle was white. But now that Carmelo Anthony needs money, all of a sudden, there's nothing wrong with raising money for defense. And just to be clear, I have no problem with Carmelo Anthony raising money for his legal defense. And if he raises a whole bunch of money and the family wants to go spend it in Vegas, I don't care. It's not my money. But at the same time, I also didn't criticize Kyle Rittenhouse for holding a fundraising campaign. I also didn't have any problem with Crystal Kaiser having a fundraiser. In fact, I advertised it on my shows back in the day. Everyone should be entitled to the best legal defense they can put up. If they're guilty, they're guilty. If they're innocent, they're innocent. Good representation makes it possible for us to find out the truth.
Give me your take as far as what that showed you, or what your take on that is.
Well, as a person who is the president of a human and civil rights organization, and knowing what happened in November and seeing the current occupant, the Grand Wizard that sits in 1600 Pennsylvania.
The Grand Wizard at 1600 Pennsylvania. The guy has Trump derangement syndrome. We're not talking about Trump here, guy. Trump isn't relevant here.
I was literally like, Bishop, man, I think Black folks sleep. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna tell you, as a person on the front lines, like, hey, man, our people gonna lose rights that they never knew they had when they lose them. You know what I mean? And we going back and forth on social media talking about Project 2025 and this is that and the third, and people talking about, and I got Black folks looking at me talking about, hey, Project 2025 ain't real. Trump said it. And first thing.
Now we're talking about Project 2025. Oh my God, the guy is so ingrained in the politics he can't get rid of it. Dude, we're talking about a Black kid of 17 stabbing another kid of 17 at a track meet. It might have been self-defense. It might not have been. That's not looking too good for the Black kid right now. However, maybe new evidence will come out that will exonerate him. None of this has anything to do with Donald Trump or Project 2025. Okay, that's enough for today. I'm going to have to go through the rest of this some other time. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.